All right, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate it as always. Sorry for being late. Of course, like anything else, I try to push everything to the last possible minute. But anyway, hopefully, uh, hopefully we're good now. So today's video, guys, we're talking about their plans being exposed. Now, not so much their plan, but more like the WHO's pandemic treaty. I'm going to do a separate video on this because I found this explanation of the pandemic treaty to be not exact, but they laid it out better, right? So again, Sarita, thank you for the 5x5. Kathleen, Laura, thank you for the 5x5. Ozark Prepper, WTC, thank you for the 5x5. Scrapper, thank you for the 5x5. Jacob, thank you for the 5x5. Melissa, Teddy, Adriana, Mike, Vet, thank you for the 5x5. Susie, what's going on? Linda, thank you for the 5x5. Jammin, thank you for the 60 anyway. Mr. Landfill, thank you for the 5x5. No, thank you for the 5x5. Groundhog and Dobie, thank you for the 5x5. Johnny 308. You know what? It's called trying to cram everything in before you have to do the next thing. Procrastination I got over, but now I tend to do everything to the last minute, instead of giving myself some time in between. Johnny D, thank you for the 5x5. And to boot, of course, I order something to eat, and around like 8:30, they give me a heads up saying, oh, we can't fulfill your order. I'm like, motherfuckers. Janine, thank you for the 5x5. What a do, thank you for the 17x76. Ben, thank you for the 25. So, it's always some, if I would have ordered dinner earlier, I wouldn't have been in this problem. But again, everything's to the last minute. Watching Tony Robbins' video, doing more research on fungal meningitis that popped up in Texas, South Texas to be exact. And of course, where do you think this fungal meningitis came from? Came from Mexico. So supposedly 10 people are dead, and it's supposedly spreading. But it's slow moving, and it's a fungal uh, meningitis. I guess that's like, antibiotics and shit like that. Whatever. Suze, thank you for the 7x7. Dan Phillips, thank you for the 5x5 span. But I might do a video on that fungal meningitis if it gets worse. But right now, I don't want to say only 10 people are dead, but yeah, 10 people are dead. And they're watching it closely in, what you call it? Live Free or Die. Am I still going? I haven't been to CrossFit in 3-4 months. I've been doing other shit to take its place, but I'm going to go back to CrossFit very soon. And I heard about the leprosy in Florida. Thank you for that, real shyster? Shyster. Chester. Chister. Whatever. Real Chiser Cat or whatever how you pronounce the name. Yeah, someone just emailed me that or IM'd me that article. I didn't get to read it yet, but I heard it. Yeah, I heard there's an outbreak of leprosy now. Guys, it's as if they're throwing everything they possibly can at us to see what sticks. Now, interestingly enough, this happened as we're talking about the pandemic treaty. And in the pandemic treaty, guys, there's a lot of things that are being done that will, I think, essentially be irreversible, right? There's going to be a lot of irreversible actions with this pandemic treaty once it gets initiated. Now, of course, for those that don't know, the pandemic treaty is by or written by WHO, and it gives WHO, World Health Organization, all of the power during a pandemic. We lose our rights, freedom of speech. So I'm going to go down all of it in sections in a little bit, but essentially gives them all the control. Now, not all countries, but I forgot how many countries signed up for this, and there were other countries that are like, no, absolutely not. Even the United States didn't sign it at first, but what they did was they gave WHO back the treaty and told them to refine it or make a couple of corrections. I don't know if those corrections were ever made, but I know that the United States under Biden's administration is looking to give this up, right? Looking to give up American freedoms to listen to who. So that's going to be a huge problem right there. Lori Q, thank you for the donations. I appreciate it. Whose idea is this? So, this is not that I mean, listen, guys. I told you before. You guys know. You've guys seen this in other YouTubers and videos. But this is all about control. Are you gonna do a Paul F? I might do a video on. Wait a minute. I think I did. Well, I did a video on Trump being indicted. As far as him being indicted for J6, guys, they're getting desperate. Anything involving Trump right now, they are getting desperate. They're looking because they did the recent polls, and the polls show that he is the top contender in the Republican Party, right, to win. So if he's the top contender, they're like, whoa, he's what? We got to get him out of there. Everybody thought DeSantis was going to be the top contender in the Republican Party. It isn't. Now it's Trump. And not that now it's Trump, but yeah, Trump is ahead. Now, they're going to throw everything they can because I don't think, guys, they can pull the same shit off with the elections like they did last time. So this election is going to be pretty interesting. But to now bring them up on more charges, that's called desperate, right? I mean, it's pretty fucking bad. But we're gonna entertain that when I get more. Not when I get when I read more information on it or do more research on it because there's so many things happening, guys. There's a lot going on. That lab in California that was funded and or started by the Chinese. Um, there's a lot going on, right? And so, how do we keep up with all of this? Now, there are other prepper channels that are going to cover other things. I can't possibly cover it all. There's just too much happening right now. I mean, listen, this is great content, but almost impossible. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my hardest to stay on top of this shit, but it's gonna be pretty fucking hard. Water dude, right? This is the RNN network, right? Real nigga news or real nigga network. You choose how you want to go about it. Um, but yeah, it's this. And you know what the crazy shit is, guys? It doesn't matter what's going on or how many things are going on or what bullshit they're going to throw at us next. We are going to be ready, and we're going to be ready psychologically, physically, and prep wise. We're going to be ready. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they throw at us. We'll be good. You know, I think we'll be okay. We won't be like other YouTube channels scaring the shit out of people and they're not coming up with a solution. If you're going to talk about, if you're going to fearmonger, guys, you have to, at the very least, pretend you're concerned and come up with solutions on how to combat a lot of this shit. I don't see that with a lot of the fearmongering channels, right? And listen, there were some channels, recent channels, that I'm disappointed in that are following CP and what's the other guy, the porn star, right? Because they're following these channels and they keep giving them accolades and rubbing their dicks on here, and I'm like, what are they doing? And I know why they're doing it. They're trying to stay in their good graces so that they can get more subscribers. So it's like, sucking the dick of the guy that's feeding you, or however the hell you want to look at it. But there are a lot of channels that are just like, and the fear mongering is evident. But these channels talked about fear mongering from these channels, but now sucking their dicks. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is. The one thinking is more subscribers trying to get on their channel and their good graces. Who the fuck knows? Yes, FSS sounds like a Nazi thing, but whatever. I mean, listen, guys. Granted, some of the shit they talk about could be true. It could absolutely happen, but you got to come up with a solution if and when it does happen, right? You can't sit there and go, guys, man, we're gonna fucking die today. This is it. We're done. Give people fucking hope, man. I mean, like, whatever. Yes, Scarlett. Yes, that's the porn star. because he grew that in ridiculous mustache, and he looks like a '70s porn star now. You know, he doesn't look like a conspiracy theorist anymore. Now he looks like a porn star. But anyway, enough of that bullshit. I find it interesting that so many people are just trying to scare for money. I mean, you want to make that money, then you got to live with your conscience, you know, of suckering people into your bullshit so that you can get fucking paid, you know. But whatever. Yeah, I like that. You know what? I like that. Ontario Prepper said, "I'd rather wear a tinfoil hat than a blindfold." I like that shit. That is awesome. That is by Ontario Prepper, by the way, guys. I never heard him say that, Derek, but oh my God, Scarlett, no. Okay. He is not a porn star. He grew a ridiculous porn star mustache. That's it. Uh, Someone said he shaved his mustache. That's probably after getting his balls broken, and probably not even by me. But yeah, whatever. We live in a world where nothing gets solved. So escape from Babylon. That's the problem. We live in a world where nothing gets solved, but all problems are solvable, right? If you can put a man on the moon and you can come up with the mission of Mars, and that's if you believe we put a man on the moon. But just think, if we did put a man on the moon, look at the problem solving they did to create that, to put that man up there, or to have that mission go to Mars. We're solving all these problems, but we can't solve our own problems here on how to deal with the problems that are coming at us. I know there's a lot of problems that I mentioned there, but there's definitely a way. We can definitely come up with a way on how to do this. You know, uh, I had a mustache once, and I look like a fucking a '70s black exploitation actor. So no, thank you. It's the full thing or nothing. The mustache alone, I just look like I belong in Shaft or an extra in Shaft. You know, who's the porn star? What are we talking about? The roaming prepper. Um, Holy shit! Someone said he might be a vegan, thus the Met look. Okay. Um, yeah. So anyway, guys, um, and the title their plan is being exposed. Maybe that was a little much because their plan isn't being exposed. They are exposing their plan for themselves. Though there was a doctor by the name of Meryl Nass. She was explaining who's pandemic treaty, and in a video that I fucking I got to get when I put in the actual video for this, she went down all of the things they were looking to take away. Now, in this treaty, guys, there are a lot of, I guess, nuances on things the World Health Organization wants done for the next pandemic, whatever that is. Um, and the the breakdown of it, guys, starts all the way at the top of so each country surrendering their rights, if you will, their medical rights. What let's say, what is it, the CDC can do and say, all of those rights are stripped and given directly to WHO. And what the WHO is doing is that they're gathering all the rights from every country and they're going to make a blanket ruling, if you will, or protocol for all countries to follow, which is interesting because each country has different groups of people, and each person or each country rather reacts differently to certain things. So not everybody's going to react to shit the right way. I can't grow an afro anymore, Dan Phillips. Those days are gone. I'm bald headed now. But so with all of those things, sorry, with the WHO wanting that control first, they're taking the control and they are making it a world control. So they're going to have representatives from WHO at each country telling each country what to do from WHO headquarters, right? Sue B. Honey, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm a little all over the place today because I got a bit of good news today, so I'm rapid firing in my thought process. That's why I'm all over the place today. I'm all over the place every day, but today more than usual. Um, but anyway, so the control guys from each country is going to be given the who, and then who's going to be like, oh man, what are we going to do here? How are we going to fuck these people in the ass? And they're going to come up with all these rules and regulations. Now they already have these rules and regulations already written out for each country. Well, not each country, but for a blanket protocol for each country to follow. Rather, sorry. So now, that being said, guys, the control is given to who? Then who's going to come back and tell us, America, Canada, the UK, all of the simpletons that gave control to the who, what to do next? Now, the first thing that they not the first thing, but one of the things mentioned in this was the social media policy. Supposedly, they want each country, or rather each social media platform, to start getting rid of accounts, not quieting us, but getting rid of accounts of people who are going to speak back. I will slow the chat for you, old timer. Give me 2 seconds. And they want, guys, ultimate control over all of it. And they want social media platforms to regulate what's being said and who's saying what. So clearly, guys, for example, we saw it here in the United States with YouTube. How many YouTubers lost their channels because of this shit, right? So that's the direction they're going in. They want to silence accounts, YouTube channels, or whatever it is. They want to silence them speaking out and against who, speaking against what's going on, to make sure that there's no misinformation being handed out. Joel, yes, but this was just this lady, if I'm not mistaken, just had this conference. Let's see, 20 seconds. So anyway, with that, and yes, I'm gonna be behind on a lot of shit, by the way, Joel, because I don't want to be the prepper channel to start talking about shit and then it's all wrong, right? So, Johnny, hopefully that helped. Hopefully that helped slow this down. I hope. But anyway, guys, so that's one aspect, right? That social media control. Now, again, we watched it during COVID. We watched it after COVID. We're watching it even now. We're watching a lot of channels still lose control of their channels or get demonetized. So YouTube is ahead of that curve, but they're demanding other social media places like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and there's a couple of others I didn't even heard of, that they want them to take accounts down. Now, freedom of speech. That is a segue into freedom of speech. Supposedly, if you speak out enough and you speak loud enough, they want the states or cities to deal with people. It wasn't quite clear how, but they want these states or cities and towns to deal with people who are speaking out against it and can't be shut up. And that's the thing, guys. Big Chase, they want you to shut your accounts down. They want you to be quiet. Because as we lose our accounts, get shut down, get our voices taken away from us, the masses are going to listen to whatever who says. We watched that happen during Mr. 19. We watched people listen to who, listen to the CDC, and go, yes, our boss, whatever you say. And people were just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever. And the rest of us, we're looking at people like, are you fucking kidding me? Are we sitting here watching this happen? Yes, we're watching this happen. We watched our freedom of speech, sorry, we watched our freedom of speech get fucking completely stripped from us during COVID. Now, the next thing they were talking about were lockdowns. They want lockdowns to be more harsh, if that makes sense. They want. They can't invest in the internet, government information collection agency. All right. They want us to be locked down harder, if that's a thing, and it is a thing. But the problem with locking certain countries down harder, like the United States, for example, you have to implement the National Guards. on the military for that for that. And I don't see military. I don't see states or every state implementing National Guards because you got states like Florida, you got states like Texas, maybe even Arizona that are not going to oblige to that. You got some East Coast states that are not going to oblige to that. They're not going to go that far. They're not going to implement. Now New York will, uh, Pennsylvania probably will, right? Michigan, they definitely will. All right, so we have states that will do this, but not every state. Who wants every state in every country to enact a harder martial law or harder lockdown? Now they're not going to call it, I mean, depends on where you live. They're going to call it a, lockdown and not martial law because martial law, according to De Blasio, sounded too harsh. You're going to have major problems if you start putting National Guards on the street and telling people they can't be on the street. You're going to see something short of a civil war or a bloodbath, whatever you want to call it. It's going to get bad if they do that. But that again, that's what the WHO wants. They want more people to be under more control, and they want to implement that. Now, there was no mention of the United Nation Army being, or UN troops being put on the streets of America, but I could see that happening if certain states don't oblige. Now, obviously, if certain states don't oblige, and the UN troops want to go in and fix the problem, that's going to be another battle, and I don't see them overreaching that way. Though that's what they want, I can't see it happening. I can't see the UN saying, "Hey, listen, we're going to come into your state and we're going to implement these things that you didn't want to do." I just don't see it. And if that happens, man, talk about a fucking a bloodbath. It's going to get bad. Um, we all got the spike production jab and not from the natural infection. Dart, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. And if I missed any other donations, I appreciate it. I thought I missed one, but if I did, sorry. All right. Anyway, guys, and that's the thing. Wisdom, lockdown alpha chiefs. When they were locked the city, when they locked New York down, I was still out in the streets roaming around. There was still a ton of people roaming around. Not a ton, but enough. And again, if some of you looked on my pictures on the Angryprepper, I think I had it during lockdown. I had what the city lockdown looked like, bare streets. Now that was the only upside of the lockdowns. I appreciated that. Less people in the streets. Even the criminals were scared, and the criminals weren't out because they were scared of COVID. They were out. They weren't out because there was no one to rob. Other than going in the stores and stealing from there was no one to rob. But if we have another lockdown, it's going to be even better. And if there's another lockdown, maybe even people like myself will get arrested. Now, I'm willing to go that distance. I'm willing to go the whole distance to see how far they're willing to go. But guys, there are potential outbreaks looming all over the world, and there are at least 3 here in the United States. And anything, guys, that the WHO deems a pandemic or the possibility of a pandemic, they can enact this pandemic treaty. So let me repeat that. If they think it's going to be a pandemic or it is a pandemic, who can lock down the country as per their pandemic treaty? So imagine they could look at something and go, whoa, that looks like that's going to be a problem. Lock it down. Right? And this is the problem with the pandemic treaty. It's taking tons of freedom away. It's telling the CDC or the United States what they can and can't do. Oh, wait, you want to use what medication now? No, we don't want you to use that medication. We want you to use this medication. And again, we did see that with the ivermectin. We saw that directly with that drug. And we saw how they were telling people and doctors and hospitals not to administer that drug. Right? And so, again, guys, the WHO pandemic treaty was sort of, I think, a test run here in the United States, because the same shit that they put in their treaty was the same shit we saw during Mr. 19. And it's not a coincidence, guys. And now that they figured out what worked and what didn't work, all of what worked is in their treaty, and they're slowly looking to implement it during the next one. Now, during the next one, I don't think it's slowly. I think during the next one, they're going to drop the hammer. They're going to boom, and it's just going to be an all-out problem in certain states. Like I said, I can't see all states following through. I really can't. I'd be fucking floored if these states, if all 50 states, or all states rather, sorry, follow through with this shit. I just, I don't know, man. I would be fucking, I would be really surprised if every last state followed through on this bullshit. You know. Now, as far as getting people to take the next arm ticket, there's threats within the pandemic treaty that talks about what can and can't be done for those that do not take the arm ticket. And we watched people, celebrities, I might add, right, that are not apologizing for what they said, and not that I'm looking for an apology from them, but we watch politicians and celebrities talk about screw our freedoms. Remember that guy? The guy who came here, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who I still admire to a point because there's a documentary on him that is pretty interesting. But outside of saying something as stupid as screw your freedoms, this is coming from a guy who left the country to come here to have a better life so that he can also compete in a competition that was going to, shoot him to the top, which it did. And he had so many more freedoms here, and he was telling, in that video, he said, screw freedoms. You need to take the shots. Remember that bullshit? And there were so many of the TV personalities that were telling us, go fuck yourself. You should be thrown in jail. You should lose your job. Oh, you want to go to the doctor? Who's that fucking pussy? Not Jimmy Fallon, the other guy. Not Stephen Colbert. I can't stand this fucking pansy of a dude. I can't even believe he got a talk show. But anyway, that asshole who was like, oh, if you go to the doctor's office, you should be seen last. Right? This dick face. You guys are going to name him in a couple minutes. But Arnold's paid to say those things. Either he's paid to say those things or not. It doesn't matter. Jimmy Kimmel, thank you. Gene Simmons, no. Well, Gene Simmons was another one, Scott, yes. But Jimmy Kimmel, thank you, Janine. Jimmy Kimmel was another one. He's another fucking cockbag. Listen, I didn't like Jimmy Kimmel because, first of all, I don't think he's fucking funny. I thought he was a piece of shit, and he's a giant fucking pussy. I mean, like, this guy sat there and cried about either Harambe or a tiger getting shot. And he sat there on his TV set going, crying like a bitch. Like being a fucking... I mean, Jimmy Kimmel is the epitome of beta male. And someone allowed this beta male to have a fucking TV show and show men how to use tampons and how to reduce your testosterone. This is Jimmy Kimmel. And Jimmy Kimmel fucking crying like a bitch on national TV over a fucking tiger or a gorilla, whatever it was. I'm like, come on, man. Seriously, dude? I mean, if you felt that badly about a tiger that you didn't know about until it was killed... I think it was a tiger. I think it was the one where the guy shot the tiger and everybody was all up in arms. Meanwhile, no one knew about the tiger. The tiger's name was like Jimmy or some shit like that. Jimmy the tiger. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, it's just insanity to me that you had all these people make these comments and not one person apologized and goes, you know what? I overstepped. I went too far. I was just in the moment. Like at least if they apologized, I'd be like, all right, But nope, no apologies. Fuck us right in the ass, So, speaking of apologies, I hope to make an announcement next week, and then we shall see where that goes. Hopefully, everything pans out. But I mean, it's not a major announcement, but it's a major one for me. From the Man Show, Big Chase. I forgot he was from the Man Show. I forgot about that. His womanizing there. Well, listen, Big Chase. The problem is when people make it big, they forget where the fuck they came from. They forget all the fucking problems they caused. I don't understand that. And so this guy's fucking, going around crying about Harambe or a tiger, whatever it is, What? I mean, like Jimmy, he's just a big. Yeah, Harambe was the gorilla, but there was a tiger that was shot. I forgot which one he was crying over, but whatever. Um, that motherfucker Jimmy Kimmel wears tampons and rides scooters, right? Vespas. That's the kind of dude he is, and they gave this motherfucker a show, and people listen to him. People think he's funny. I mean, listen, people are amazed that people listen to me. So I guess. But anyway, guys, pandemic treaty is going to be a major fucking problem. It's going to be a bad. It's going to be a big to do. Um, it's going to strip the country of its freedoms. It's going to take us, the people, to fight and keep them. So if a cop or a National Guardsman show up at your home and try to fucking pass some pandemic treaty bullshit on you, go to war with them. Have at it. Because I'm starting to see a lot of shit with what's going on in other states. Other states are locking up Christian guys, men rather, who are having sermons in parks or on sidewalks. You could riot through a city, beat a city up, rob everybody, rape every store, but if you have a sermon on the sidewalk, they're locking you up. Someone shows up at your home and goes, well, the WHO organization's now in charge, go to fucking war. Let them have it. Hunter Moon, who was Harambe? Look it up. It was a gorilla that was put to sleep because... Why was the gorilla put to sleep again? Something happened with the gorilla and they put it to sleep. And I forgot why. But and then there were these memes online about Harambe, and they were like, I'm sorry, some of the memes are fucking out of control. But yeah, just look it up. Look up Harambe and look up like why that was the thing. But anyway, Jimmy Kimmel was crying over Harambe or the tiger that was shot. Again, I can't remember which one it was, but it was one or the other. Was it Harambe or Big Mike? Yeah, but anyway, guys. So the World Health Organization, guys, they also want to implement quarantine zones. Yes, there was a child that fell into the cage. I remember that, but it didn't kill the kid, right? I think he was depressed. He dragged the kid that fell into the gorilla pit, right? And then they got the kid back. Well, why did they? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Okay, I remember something about a kid falling in or some shit like that. So they want to start quarantine zones, and they want to make sure every state or every country rather starts a quarantine zone. Now, New York State was talking about a quarantine zone during Mr. 19, and they after everything started dying down, they wanted to be said no. All right, no. They want to start implementing a protocol should this happen again. And WHO wants every country to come up with their own quarantine zone. Interestingly enough, they've been setting up what looks like internment camps or quarantine zones here in the country after Mr. 19 fucking passed. So what is interesting, guys, is that they are mapping out what they want each country to do. Now, the problem with having each country do it, guys, is how many states are going to follow through with this, right? So obviously, guys, here in the United States, you have too many states that are not going to do it, which is good, right? But you also have states that'll be like, hell yeah, we're going to do it, like New York State is one. I mean, again, that's what a politician was talking about a year and a half ago. And I thought that was interesting that they want to fuck us in the ass a little harder and put us in these quarantine zones. But how many people are going to fight? Now, in New York, I don't see a lot of people fighting. I see a lot of people going, okay, you know? Well, Adriana, if you held out this long, right, you might as well keep holding on. Adriana said her job emailed her about getting the shot. I don't understand why I don't understand why they keep trying to get people into taking the shot. I'm like, give it the fuck a rest. No one cares. You know, like you're gonna come out with some new bullshit and have us and try to have us take that. Like, listen, guys, a lot of you know it doesn't matter what happens next. Doesn't matter what's released next. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking whatever bullshit they have lined up for us. I will fucking bleed out of my fucking eyes before I take whatever bullshit they have fucking planned for us. I'm not gonna deal with it. And if something that serious happens, I'm gonna quarantine myself. I'm not gonna let some dude knock on my door and tell her let us in so we could. Nope. You know, I'm not going to sit there and line up with everybody else like they did in real life or in the movie what was it called? Oh my God, I'm drawing a fucking blank. Contagion, right? Like the movie Contagion. I'm not going to sit there and line up with that. I'm going to fucking stay home. I'm going to do my own thing. These people can suck a big fat dick because I want nothing to do with this bullshit. Had on a Vax necklace. They want to break your spirit. Live free or die. Listen, here's the deal. You can't break the spirit of somebody who doesn't give a fuck and is willing to fight. Right? That's the thing. Like, as long as we're willing to fight, guys, we'll be okay. We're not going to sit there and go, what do we do? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of us who lost our jobs over this bullshit. And we were like, what the fuck are we going to do next? But I think we all did good. I think we all pivot. Right? I think we did fine. The next thing that comes, I think, is going to be a little harder. I think it's going to be a little more tough. It's going to definitely test our fucking grit. It's going to test every last bit of us. But we're going to fight because we see this coming. If this thing, guys, came out of the fucking blue, out of left field, I'd have been like, oh shit. You know, I'd have been in shock too. I would have dealt with it, but I would have been in shock. But being that, guys, we're watching them lay their plan out in front of us and telling us what they're going to do exactly. There's no fucking way to be shocked. There's no way to be surprised. The only thing is now for us to come up with a fucking way to fight against it. You know? And that's it. We have time to think of a plan. They're not going to spring some shit on us all of a sudden. We see it coming. And they're not being fucking quiet about it either. They're not hiding it from us anymore. They're telling us this is what's going to happen next. And they're throwing so many possible pandemics at us that we're like, all right, what is it going to be today? It's going to be fungal meningitis. Is it going to be the dick itching disease? Is it going to be the fucking left breast falling off disease? Or what is it going to be? We're going to be ready for whatever it is. Because that's what we do. We sit here and we prepare for whatever bullshit they're going to throw at us next. I mean, listen, could there be something real lurking out there? Absolutely. The problem with the real, whatever it is, lurking in the shadows, guys, is that if and when it happens, we're going to be so jaded that we're going to be like, what the fuck, man? Ben, what do you mean, do I take... Are you talking about not niacin? What the fuck was it called? Could you spell that out? Because if it's what I think you're talking about, I have it, but I haven't been taking it. Right, guys, listen, like I said, we're not... what's going to start happening soon is, again, we're watching them line up all of these new outbreaks, these new things. And we just have to fucking be ready for it. We have to be ready mentally and physically. Because if we're not ready mentally or physically, it's going to break you, like someone said earlier. If you're ready mentally and physically, we'll be fine. If you have enough preps, we'll be fine. We won't have to go out there. What we'll wind up doing is watching more YouTube videos. But I think we'll be okay, guys. The pandemic treaty breaks down into a few more categories that I completely forgot to write down. But I know that they were talking about locking us up was one of them. And there was no determination on how long you were going to be quarantined. That was it. There's no determination. It's up to who. Now imagine, guys. Everybody's being funneled into this quarantine zone. And everything is being passed through the WHO, the World Health Organization. So that means you're talking about millions of people in a quarantine zone, and you could be in there for months, if not years, if they forget about you. Right? Now, again, imagine. They're looking at this fungal meningitis that came out of Mexico. Thank you, Mexico. And they're looking at this and going, you know what? Let's see what this looks like. Let's see if 200 people get it. And if 200 people get it, we'll lock down Texas, right? South Texas at that. We'll tell the United States, Biden, that we have to go in there and we have to implement our pandemic treaty. But we're only going to implement the pandemic treaty in South Texas. Now, here they come on their fucking lightning, writing down, raising hell in South Texas. Now, I don't think it's going to go well if you try some shit like that in Texas. It'll probably go down a little easier, if you will, if you try some shit like that here in New York, right? Any of the liberal states, you're probably going to get people to oblige. You're not going to get somebody to oblige in Texas. At least I don't think so, you know? Gardner, Gardner Grower. What do you mean? Why would they do that? And guys, I know it's easy to shorthand write, but when I'm reading this shit, you got to give me more context because, someone says, crap, I'm in South Texas. Listen, like I said, it's a fungal meningitis that only killed 10 people. And I hate to say only because it sounds callous, because I am, but that's not the point. The point is, guys, is that this is not, they're going to try to keep us scared for the duration. And the problem, okay, so the other day I'm in Trumbull, Connecticut, and I'm in the supermarket. So I'm in the supermarket and I'm standing. I was going down the aisles looking for bread or some shit, and I go down the aisle and I'm walking by and I'm like, what the fuck? A whole family in 2023 in July. This was a couple days ago. Were wearing a mask. The wife had a mask on. The husband had a mask on. And listen, if the husband's still wearing a mask, I 1,000% sure the woman's running that relationship. Because only cowards, and mostly females, not saying not all females, mostly females wear the mask. And everybody, the girl, the boy, the husband, are all wearing a mask. And I'm standing in there, and the father makes eye contact with me, and I had to. I had to let him know I was disgusted with their bullshit. And I'm like, and he just like, he tried to look anywhere but at me. I'm like, why the fuck are you still wearing a mask, man? Like, seriously. It's fucking over. The war is over. Take your mask off. But that wasn't the case. The case was that this dude and his fucking pants-wearing wife sat there and wore the mask on. So now, my son's mother, who lives here and who lives in Connecticut, rather sorry, she was always wearing a mask and had my son going out and wear the mask. And I told my son, before we go outside, take it the fuck off. And I said, take it off. He's like, I don't want to get sick. I'm like, you're not going to fucking die. It'll put hair in your chest if you get sick anyway. Right? This was a year ago, right? Or a year, yeah, it was a year ago, exactly. When this shit was over. So I'm looking at him, and he takes it off, and she's like, he wants to wear it. He doesn't want to wear it. You make him wear it with your coward bullshit. I'm like, your cowardice is fucking contagious. The kids are wearing it because they're going to catch what? COVID? They're not going to die. They'll be okay. So anyway, I get him outside, and I'm like, we get to the Five Guys. We get to Five Guys, and he's like, he's toying with it. I'm like, you put it back on. I'm going to burn it in front of you. And he's like, he didn't know what to say. And granted, he was only 8 at the time or 7 at the time. I was a little harsh, a little heavy-handed, but nonetheless, I had to tell him. I said, you're going to be okay. You're not going to die. I said, how many of your friends, and I told both of them, I asked her son and my son, how many kids died from this? And they go, none. I go, how many kids died from the common cold or the flu that you know? They go, none. I go, then take the fucking mask off and be boys. Stop being cowards. Do not follow in her footstep. And then with that, they stopped. And so I had to read the riot act when I got back to the house. I dropped my son off. I'm reading the riot act. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Do you want these kids to be pussies forever? And, she was like, yeah, but what if they get sick? They'll be okay. Simple. And she was like, okay. And now they don't wear masks, but I had to fucking lay into them. I'm like, listen, and then telling her and them that the mask didn't work anyway. It doesn't work. It's forgot. It's bullshit, And then they're like, well, how did you? And so I gave her studies about it, and then she's like, oh, I'm like, you would think that this lady who's smarter than I am would fucking. And that's the crazy shit, guys. People who are smarter than me became the dumbest people on the planet during Mr. 19. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't understand where the stupidity went, right? But people became alarmingly stupid during Mr. 19. It was just like, what the fuck? No, there was none of the kids or her have a compromised immune system. I mean, I don't understand this, the logic. Like, listen, guys, not for nothing. If something worse comes, your little fucking medical mask is not going to work. You're going to need something heavier for that. And I've said that. I've said that a million times. And all these studies are coming out now saying the surgical things didn't work. The surgical face coverings did not work. All of these studies, left and right, right? And the crazy shit is, I didn't need a study to tell me something I knew from when I was a fireman. All right, I knew all of this. We knew all of this. Every medical professional who rode an ambulance or worked in a hospital knew this. But somehow, all became stupid and fucking followed the rules that didn't work. So yeah. So guys, with that rant, sorry. One last thing with the pandemic taking freedoms away. They want sorry, the media is doing this now. So when I heard or read that in the, not read it, but heard it in the pandemic treaty, what I read in the pandemic treaty was a little different from what I'm being told now. But one of the things was not controlling social media, but controlling the media. Now the media is already controlled. The media already has strings that are being pulled from them. So I don't understand why this was added in the treaty. But according to the pandemic treaty, they are to report only what they're being told. I'm like, no shit, they're being told that already. They're already doing this. They're not. So I don't know why that was in the treaty, but it was. Nonetheless, guys, we are not going to know what to believe. Because the problem is, if they control social media, if they control all forms of communication, social media, regular media, newspaper, whatever it is, we're going to sit there and look at bullshit. Now, that's going to make us worse conspiracy theorists because we're going to be like, well, what the fuck do we believe? How do we believe any of this shit? We can't believe anything that's being talked about now until we see it in person or in our face. Now, when Mr. 19 hit, I was a little skeptical about it, but then I watched people get sick. But I also watched the same people get sick not pass away. Right? So, and then I started realizing that it was all bullshit. At least for us healthy folks, it was bullshit. And then there were people like, well, there were healthy people that didn't make it. They weren't that fucking healthy then. Sorry to fucking tell you. I mean, according to how we were lied to, guys, according to the amount of lying that was told to us, if Mr. 19 was that bad, every last diabetic patient, every last heart congestive failure patient, every last person with a serious medical condition would have died. If it was that bad, if it was that serious. I don't think it was that serious, right? I think it was serious enough for those who had compromised immune systems, but not for everyone else. Not for all of us. Not for us healthy folks. Not for us that hit the gym. Not for us firemen, police officers, and EMTs. If you were fat, lazy, out of shape, or had a serious medical condition, yeah, your risk of dying was higher, but it wasn't guaranteed. And that was the problem. They tried to make it like it was a guaranteed something was going to happen to you. No one died at home, all in the hospital. And the craziness, guys, is that if you went to the hospital, and they were like, all right, you have Mr. 19, you got to go home. They counted that as hospitalizations. They changed the hospitalization definition. Sorry. When I was in EMS, they used to say, well, you're hospitalized when you stay in the hospital overnight. They changed it by now saying if you visited the hospital, you would count as a hospitalization. So again, they changed definitions as well during Mr. 19. I mean, hell, they changed definitions for everything now. We're like, well, men can get pregnant. The fuck they can. You can't say pregnant women. You have to say pregnant people. Oh, God. They changed the definitions for everything. I mean, like, prepper is not in the dictionary, if I'm not mistaken, but LOL is. we are headed on the fucking. We're headed on the what you call it. We're headed to hell. We're on the road to hell is where we are right now, because I mean all of the shit that's going on, guys, is fucking insane. The WHO pandemic treaty, and then we have the WEF telling us exactly how and what they're going to do to us, right? Roman Prepper, good night. It's guys. eh, their plan to fuck us 8 ways to Sunday is insane. You have the World Economic Forum, you have the digital currency, and they're all telling us what they're going to do, and it's all in lockstep with one another, right? You think, all right, the World Economic Forum is different from whose pandemic treaty? No. Then you have the digital currency, the CBDC. And now some people are like, well, BRICS, CBDC. No, 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 no. BRICS, guys, is in line with what's going on with the digital currency. Don't be fooled with the bullshit and BRICS stepping out. It's all part of the plan. Whether China's running it or not, it's all part of the fucking plan. Right? And BRICS is having its own problem right now, too. And I knew that was going to happen. You got these headstrong countries joining the BRIC pact. You knew there's going to be a fucking problem down the line. And they're running into their own problem with, I think it's Iraq or Iran, one of those countries. And China's not happy with what Russia's doing with Ukraine. It's going to fall apart. It's not going to last. Right? Everybody seems to think that BRIC is it's going to stay strong and last. No, it isn't. You clearly don't know the history of each country, and you don't know the history of these fucking idiots. And if you know the history between Russia and China and the countries like Brazil and them, you would look at this automatically and know this is not going to last at all. They're going to bail on their own fucking plan before you can fucking piss your pants. And don't try to piss your pants to prove me wrong either. But you get my point, guys. It's bad. The CBDC and the fucking pandemic treaty, if those two intertwine with one another, which they will eventually, but right now they're not talking about it, but they will intertwine. When they do, guys, forget about it. You're not gonna fucking be able to do shit. Oh wait, you don't want to take the arm ticket? You don't want to take the arm ticket? Then we're gonna have to lock your account. We're gonna have to. Matter of fact, we're gonna fine you every day you don't take the arm ticket. You're gonna see that. So, it's guys. It's definitely going to make things a lot more interesting when this carries on, or as this goes on. Sorry, right? We're definitely going to see some interesting shit. And like I said, I think we'll see a lot of it in our lifetime. And then the hardest shit we won't see till later on. Obviously when we're older and there's nothing for us to do about it, because the knuckleheads, our kids, are going to believe this bullshit every step of the way. And some of the kids will find something wrong with it. They'll have this feeling that this doesn't feel right. Because they're trying to condition everyone, kids, that is, this younger generation, into making believe that this shit is normal and is okay. And it's not. It clearly isn't. Like I said, we're going to see we're going to see this shit fucking kick off when we're older, and our kids are going to go along with it because they just don't know any better. And maybe they do know better, but they just want to be liked. Because the problem is, guys, social media makes people feel weird. And if you're not liked, and you sit there and you want to be liked, you're going to do these dumb fucking trends that you see here on Instagram. Or you might be doing shit just to fit in. Right? And a lot of people want to fit in. I don't want to fucking fit in. I'm the square peg that does not fit in a round hole or anybody's fucking hole. I do what I fucking want to do because I think I know what's right and I think I know what to do next. Most people don't. Right? And a garden grower was like, know your shit. No, listen, there's a lot to be said about that statement, know your shit. But yeah, know your shit, guys. See, here's the deal. Everything that I talk about on here, I want you guys to do the research and do the look into whatever the fuck I talk about. Because here's the deal. If I get something wrong, you guys are going to keep me on my toes. And secondly, you'll know that I'm telling the truth when you look at this shit. When you look at it and go, holy shit, this was what AP was talking about? Right? I mean, like, for example, the girl that just admitted to lying about being kidnapped. Not that I don't want to say that I was right. It's just that her story reeked of bullshit, man. And right, and now they're looking to charge her with a crime, falsifying documents or whatever the fuck they're gonna. I forgot. I don't know what they're charging with. I just know what they're charging her. I didn't read into it because it doesn't fucking matter. And like I said, I'm not right. I just knew that she was lying. I, yeah, that's not being right. That's just knowing when somebody's fucking, you know. Again, guys, we know the bullshit that's coming. This alien bullshit, I'm not impressed with it at all. People like, oh, the aliens, and no one's reacting to it. You know why no one's reacting to it? Because we don't give a fuck. Because we saw this alien shit coming down the pike years ago. We knew that the government at some point was going to admit to it. Now, they're either admitting to it for one or two reasons. Some people say Project Bluebeam is going to project some shit in the sky and is going to have us fucking, again, mind control and control our freedoms. There is that. The other side of that coin is if this shit is real and this goes down the way they think it's going to go down, they're trying to get us ready for something that's coming. Now, Project Bluebeam, the reason why I find it to be an interesting subject, the title Project Bluebeam, or the device Project Bluebeam, whatever you want to call it, there's a movie. I know one of you guys might notice, but it was a really bad alien invasion movie. And in this alien invasion movie, there was a blue beam that sucked people up into space. And I thought that was pretty interesting because this blue beam hypnotized people and then it sucked them in. They had a part one, and part one was really shitty. And then part two came out, and part two was a lot better than part one. Though part two was super B movie-ish. God, I forgot the name of it. But it was a really bad movie. But it was sucking people out of the apartment into the spaceship. Not invasion. And they were looking at it, and when people were looking at those people looking at the blue lights, you see them like hundreds of people being sucked up at a time. I forgot the name of the movie, man, but it wasn't Invasion. It was a really bad B movie. But yeah, listen, Project Bluebeam could be real, and I'm not doubting it. But the technology for that, Skyline. Thank you, Christian Prepper. That is my movie go-to guy. Christian Prepper. You're right. Skyline. That was it. And then they did a part two, which was really fucking bad. Patty, why would you ask me if I took the arm ticket? Anyway, yes, Skyline. Yeah, Skyline. Part two was better than part one. No, Battle Los Angeles was good. Battle Los Angeles was an underrated alien movie. I thought it was really fucking good. That was a really good aliens movie. It was gritty. It was real. The fucking Marines getting in there and getting some. And, like the whole thing was awesome. Underrated fucking movie, man. And I don't think they advertised it right. That was the other thing. I think the advertisement was pretty shitty for it. Whatever. Yeah, but Skyline the movie. But yeah, the project, the thing, there's one side of me that believes in Project Bluebeam, and again, is what Delta did with the virtual reality. It wasn't virtual reality, but I told you about it, where you can look at your flight information on this big screen, and only you can see it, but someone standing right next to you or in front of you can't see it. So that's the one thing that makes me believe in Project Bluebeam, but I want to do a video on it. I got to find more information, but it's insane. You walk in, and if your phone has like your flight information on it, it already pings your phone to the information, and then you go in and you type your name in or whatever it is to confirm, and it shows your information on the screen. It's fucking crazy, man. You got the Wu-Tang flu shot. But, yeah, so I thought that was interesting. But anyway, with that, guys, I'm going to go off now. I got the Angry Truth to do. The Angry Truth, what are we talking about tonight? Hold on. Sorry. And what are we talking about tonight? I fucking completely forgot. Oh, another method on stopping people from eating red meat. We're going to see this over a couple of years. But maybe you guys will be interested in that live stream. Anyway, I'm going to go off right now. I'm going to square some shit away. I got 3 minutes to do so. And I'll be back at 10:05. All right, guys. Anyway, thank you for watching me. Thank you for the donations. And I will see some of you guys in a couple of minutes. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow morning for the Wednesday midweek report. And then I'll see the rest of you guys Thursday night. All right, guys. Thank you for, you know, joining me.